filmfestivalcircuit.com and the director of the Oregon Screams Horror Film Festival. We just wrapped up an event August the 21st at the Clinton Street Theater. Thank you guys for having us at Clinton Street. One of the films that we screened is called Geisting, which was just, man, what a reception that this one got at the festival. I don't know if you've seen the still photo of this one yet, Alex. You got to look. We have a photo of it up on screen. Alex, the director, joining us. How you doing?
Great. Good afternoon, everybody. Alex Bram here, Studio City, California. How are you, Michael? Good morning.
Oh, good morning. It's an early morning, early for you, and I appreciate the time. I've been wanting to talk to you because this film, I definitely got a lot of comments from the judges just about the huge cast, which I got to get to, and just the work you put in, costumes and props and things like that. It's really different, really stood out in a whole different way from many other films in the festival. But before we get into all the nitty gritty, can you just tell us what it's about? What's the synopsis?
Well, it's called Geisting, as in Poltergeisting, and we decided to make a horror comedy about life from the poltergeist view. So, and we wanted it to balance the comedy and the horror elements so that we leaned into the horror as much as possible when those moments happened, but then always keeping it at the right tone to where people are allowed and feel like laughing. A lot of times in tense and suspenseful situations, that's what people do is they may laugh in a sort of self-defense way. So, but if you do that wrong, if you approach that mix of horror and comedy wrong, it's easy to get wrong. So it took us a lot of writing. We actually spent quite a great deal of time. I'd say a couple of months just on the, and for a short, for a feature, you might think, well, of course you take a few months, but for a short, we took, and it might have been 4 months, really, if I'm being really honest, because it's a very complex script that deals with the afterlife. So we had two dimensions. We had the poltergeist realm and we had the human realm. And another thing that we wanted to do is make sure it was clear where we were at each time. So anyways, we've spent a lot of time on the script, and that's where it all began.
All right. Well, the end result was good. And how did you find your cast?
When we were writing, it was going to be a smaller affair. We thought it would be a little, and by smaller, I'm referring to logistics, story points, and budget. But what happened was we started circulating the script that I mentioned that we'd worked on for a few months. The team has connections in the horror community. One community was Bonnie Aarons, who plays the Nun in the Nun franchise. She got a hold of the script and said she wanted to be involved. So we were like, wait a minute, the Nun wants to be involved. So we had to kick everything up 10 notches because we wanted to really take advantage of that opportunity. So our budget quadrupled from our little, we'll just, friends and family, we'll invite friends and family and have a fun go at this script. It turned into, we started hiring the visual effects person who worked on a Will Smith movie, and a costume designer from Harry Potter, etc., etc. So every kind of role we kicked it up a notch.
Wow.
By the way, that VFX supervisor I mentioned, Adam Lima, the costume designer Maggie Walsh, because when you do see the film, you can see that it is an ensemble or team. There's no way this could have happened other than with a team, and this is absolutely a team effort from page one to final credit.
Wow. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, what do you got planned for the future? What are you doing after this? Is there any sequels to this one, or are you working on new projects?
We the initial concept was for this to be a series. So, all right, I'll justify we took a few months in writing. Well, we wrote a lot of episodes actually. So because the intention was for this to be like What We Do in the Shadows or Wellington Paranormal, a horror comedy series. And that is still the proposition, by the way. Fortunately, our pilot that you saw and that got selected to the festival. Thank you so much for the selection, by the way. Very cool festival. We are all super pumped about being a part of it.
Thank you.
But anyway, so that's that. Very
All
excited
right.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, how did you get started in the industry? What was your first step where you got serious? I mean, and I don't mean like wrote a story as a second grader, but I mean like you're like I'm going to create content. How did that come about for you?
Well, quite honestly, when I landed in California, I feel like an immigrant from the old country. When I landed in Hollywood, it was rough. I tell you, I started out as an actor. That's true. I started out, and that is the answer to your question. So actually, I started off. I landed on the shores of California, sunny shores of California, and I started off as an actor. And in acting classes and in putting scenes together in acting classes, I found that I was pretty good at working with actors and kind of arranging the scenes and all of this. So although I came out here with the acting idea, it morphed into my directing path and mission. So there's no, I need to be behind the camera, whereas the other talented folks are in front of the camera. But anyways, I found out in this acting class and in doing that work, um, I discovered my true artistic passion. I think a lot of times artists are artistic, and then
Mhm.
they can sing and they can draw and they can dance and they can do all and they can act and they can write a script and etc. etc. But out of all those artistic talents, in the marketplace, you have to sort of pick one, right? It's most likely that Jodie Foster can sing really well. Okay, great. But are we going to buy a Jodie Foster album? I don't know. Woody Allen plays a mean clarinet. All right. But you have to really find that one thing that you do artistically that no one else can do. And I found that in directing. And yes, I can sing and I can whatever. I can do all those things. I'll spare you. But I found that what I really was meant to be doing was directing, and so to answer your question, it was also like in around 1999 or so in an acting class in Los Angeles where I found the path, and then I put together a. It's been quite an interesting journey. My first short film. What was her name? I'm gonna blank on the name. But we filmed in a house. We went location hunting. My first short film was called Body of Work. I thought it would be funny to start the career with saying like, my big body of work on film one. So I called it Body of Work, and it's a pun on bodies. There's bodies involved, dead bodies.
Mm.
Spoiler. But at Body of Work, I forget the character, but we filmed it in. There's the lady in Psycho. This is all the horror buffs are throwing stuff at the screen right now. It's 7 a.m. in California. I listen. I don't become lucid till lunch. So, anyway, in Psycho, there's uh, the sister. We filmed in the sister's house.
Oh
I'm
wow.
blanking on the name. What's the actress's name?
Oh, you can take the time and Google. I'll just edit it right out. Don't you worry about it.
Oh, there's Vivian Lee, and then there's her sister. The sister's
Mhm.
actually in Psycho on the
Gotcha.
case, right, with the
Hmm.
detectives. I just forget her name. Anyways, my first film ever, we filmed in her house. So
Oh
I'm like,
whoa.
wow,
Okay.
we're this is the start. So it's been kind of an interesting path the whole time. Um, Started in an acting class, found that I needed to be a director. First film was Body of Work, and it's been just a blast ever since.
Good stuff. Well, I appreciate your time today. Appreciate you joining me. Is there anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Well, again, thank you so much for the selection. I hope folks enjoy the film. I'm very proud of it. I think it looks, sounds good. I think we were on target with it. So first of all, I hope everyone enjoys it that sees it. We are looking to turn it into a series, although the pilot is a standalone. So just putting that out there as well. And our film production company, Panic Attack Films, is developing ghost stories and alien projects. So we have a lot of other things on in our what's it called, on our front burner,
All
ready to
right.
go. We have a lot of ready to go projects
On the
out.
slate. All right.
Yeah.
The production slate, my man. So, hey,
Michael, thank
thank
you
you.
so much. This has been a blast.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And I appreciate you taking the time. And it's just interesting to get to know what you're working on. And again, kudos on your film. Excellent work. The judges were really impressed, and just excellent work on this entire thing.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you
No
very much.
worries.
Appreciate it.